I want to welcome you guys to the What Transfer to Use When webinar. We've got an action-packed slide deck here for you, and I'm going to be here. I have some cool demos that I'll be holding up as well. So you see me in the little picture in the corner, but when it gets time to look at some cool t-shirts and show off the finishes that we have here and all of the different transfer types, there's 18 to be exact, but this whole webinar, we're going to boil it all down so it's going to be super easy to understand, and you're going to be able to make a spot-on split-second decision as to what transfer you need. I'm going to show you all the tools and everything. So what do you say? Let's jump right in here. And to you guys who are brand new here, my name is Dave here at Transfer Express, and I am super excited to be helping you guys out and grow your business. One thing that I absolutely admire is everybody here today. You are taking time to better yourself and your t-shirt business, and that takes a lot of dedication, and that is already setting you up on the road to success, and I absolutely love it. So thank you for joining here. And this is an interactive format, so if you have any questions, let us know in the chat section there right on the right-hand side, and then I have Mike behind the scenes who's going to be answering some of those. I'm going to glance over. I have it right up here, so I'm able to kind of look down and see it, but I want this to be interactive for you guys. Ask your questions. This is the avenue for it. And this is where this entire thing is just built to help you out. So anything we can do to help, you let us know. The agenda today is action-packed, as I said before. We're going to be talking about the different types of transfers. We're going to be talking about why you're going to choose which transfer you're going to choose. We're going to talk about some tools that are going to make it really easy. In case you don't have a nice little reference chart, we're going to get into something like this, our little chart in just a little bit. And I'm going to encourage you to screenshot that. Of course, we'll be sending it, and I'll show you how you could get a printed copy like this as well. Then we're going to talk about when you're ordering an Easy View, where to check what fabric type you're printing on, which is kind of goes into the basis of choice here on the agenda. And then finally, we're going to talk about preventing scorching polyester or synthetic fibers. You really need a low temperature application, and there are certain transfers designed specifically for that in mind. So I want to get in. We're going to get rolling right here, right off the bat, and get going right here. So we're going to talk about primarily 3 different types of transfers. Now, I mentioned we have 18 different transfers here at Transfer Express, but there are only really 3 main categories that you need to keep in mind, and this is going to help simplify a lot. So screen printed transfers are for spot color artwork. Like you see here, there is just 2 colors. There are no photographic elements. There's really no gradients or any like photorealistic detail. Just because ink has to be pushed through a screen, like screen printing. I'll get into a little bit more here, but that is the difference there. The main 3 in our screen printed category are Goof Proof, Elastoprince, and Hot Split. Now, Goof Proof and Elastoprince, we'll give Elastoprince a little bit of love, but primarily Goof Proof is what we're known for here at Transfer Express. It is a plastisol screen printed transfer. It looks, feels, washes, and wears exactly like a traditional screen print. Which is really, really cool because you could get that same effect, same finished, high quality end result that's been trusted for t-shirt printing for, well over 50, 60 years now without the hassle of inks, emulsions, setup, tear down, or even cleanup. We handle all that, so all you need is just a heat press to apply. Makes it really, really super easy. The second is full color transfers. There have been leaps and bounds of new technology that's come out in the past couple years that have made these high quality, just awesome in terms of capabilities transfers. And with new technology, it kind of drives the cost down too. So before, like screen printed transfers have a minimum of 6 quantity, full color transfers, especially our Ultra Color Max DTF, you could order in any quantity that you want. It's just the nature of the technology of how they're produced that there is no setup. There's no burning of physical screens. There's no inking anything up. They're digital printers, and the quality has just taken off, where it's not what you think of when you think of a full color digital transfer from 15 years ago. Absolutely not. All of the entire Ultra Color line are super high quality. I got a stack of them right here that we're going to get into in a little bit. And then, of course, I have to talk about our Cad Prints, which are printed vinyl. They're great for super specialty applications, but for the most part, with the new technology in Ultra Color Max, it has kind of eliminated the need for a lot of those different transfer types, although there are some specialty applications where you may still need to use them. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when we're talking about our different transfer types. Now, Carmina, the turn time of Goof Proof transfers is as low as next business day. So if you order before 11 a.m., Using Easy Prints artwork, it ships next business day in a 1-color print. 2-color and everything else is two business days. So for uploaded art, or if you have a 2, 3, 4-color Goof Proof print in whatever quantity you need, it'll ship in 2 business days. So it is very quick. Of course, Express is in our name. The same with Ultra Color Max. It ships next business day as well. There you go. Look, and that's Mike in the chat section right there answering the chat as well. So you see, this is exactly what we're built here. I want to be able to help you out, but I'm going to try. So I might miss a few, and I apologize for that, but I'm going to try to stay focused on the material here. So we're going to keep going and dive into kind of what a screen printed transfer is. So it is actually plastisol ink, the same ink that commercial screen printing shops use when they're screen printing directly to the t-shirt. Same exact ink, same exact brands. It is a screen print. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Now, this is, of course, because we have to ink up a screen like you see in the picture right here. That's a squeegee pushing yellow ink. And then the area on there that you see is green is actually an emulsion. So it's a photo emulsion where you have to kind of expose it to light in terms of making the green part hard, and then any other part that's not exposed to light just washes out with a hose. And that's where the ink's going to get pushed through. So that's why you have to have a screen for each individual color that you're printing. So that's why the price will increase based on the number of colors in your design. You know, the majority of what we're talking about here, a lot of t-shirts, if you look in your own closet, are single color. They're 2-color like this one here. It's just a 1-color yellow print. And this is a Goof Proof transfer, so it looks and feels just like a screen printed shirt. Sits into the fibers a little bit of the shirt. Doesn't necessarily like sit on top like a sticker or anything like that. And it just feels and washes incredible, especially on the inside to the wearer. It feels, it moves with the garment really, really well. So the way that we sell our transfers, they're available on the sheet. So there's 2 different sheet sizes here. Let me pull up one of our gang sheets. So that print that I just showed you there, Stay Golden with the Tigers, comes on a sheet just like this. So this is what we call a gang sheet. Now, this is our standard size. So it's 11.5 across the top and 14 inches tall, which is large enough for most designs. Like this one right here is an 11-inch wide graphic. I'm just going to eyeball that, maybe even longer, maybe a 12-inch, but that's like a solid full front graphic there. So that is, you know, primarily the size that you're going to be printing. So if, say, we were just doing this Stay Golden graphic right here, you could almost just align them all the way down here. Now, when I talk about sheet sizing, you're going to hear me mention gang sheets, especially if you're brand new to transfers. Gang sheets are a profit opportunity for you because just like this one, we're able to put a couple different designs all on one sheet so that all of the print costs, say this entire sheet at whatever quantity you're buying is $3 per sheet. Now each one of these graphics is only $1, which makes it super, super profitable. If you're sharing a sheet, say if it's just white ink between multiple customers, or you want to throw some inside tag prints on just a sheet that you're doing for one of your customers for your own brand, that is free printing for you. And that marketing potential is great. And when you're not paying for it, it's even better, right? So that is one thing that you absolutely need to make sure that you have in mind when you're designing for screen printed transfers. They are only available by the sheet. So the more that you could pack onto that sheet in the same color, the lower your total print cost is going to be across everything that you're doing. Jenny asked, what size would I get for a youth shirt full front, a gang sheet? Yes, if you're doing screen printed transfers, you would absolutely do this on a gang sheet. But for a youth shirt, you're not going any larger than 9 inches wide. So if it's just, say, like this Stay Golden graphic, which this is, of course, reversed because we're going to put it on a shirt and it's going to print right side. But this Stay Golden graphic, if it was condensed to 9 inches, you would be able to fit maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 on this sheet. So if you needed, say, you know, whatever you needed 50 quantity, you really only have to order 10 sheets. So definitely something to keep in mind. We have a whole bunch of content on gang sheets on our blog and over on our YouTube page. I could talk literally this entire webinar about the profit packed potential of gang sheets and show you some different examples, but I want to talk about what transfers to use. But gang sheets are an important part when we're talking about what the difference in our transfers. So there are various adhesives and ink formulas that you could get. Hot Split is the same Goof Proof formula without an adhesive. So you really need, you need to trust your heat press for that, I'll say. It needs a higher temperature and an accurate temperature and a high pressure, because then it really just melts. The ink is melting into the fibers of the shirt, so it's really not going anywhere. Goof Proof has a almost sand-like adhesive you'll feel on the inks itself. Sometimes you'll see them in the bag if it shakes loose a little bit, and that's fine. Don't worry about that transferring to a shirt. Even on dark colors, when you hit it with the heat, the adhesive literally disappears. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But that adds to the Goof Proof, making it Goof Proof. It gives it a wider application envelope and just super simple, easy application. I mean, I trust it every single time. I could close my eyes and press it and peel, and I know it's going to stick there. It is just an awesome product. And like I mentioned, it is our most popular product in transfer for the past 30 years. It's what Transfer Express is known for. And just a couple years ago, we actually refined the ink formula to make it much softer to the hand. So it's even softer now, very much closer to hot split. That's why you would use the hot split. Now, Elastoprince, think polyester. Elastoprince performance wear and polyester. That's going to be your names, your numbers, especially on athletic jerseys or anything 100% polyester. And it's going to relate to that temperature, but we're going to get into that a little bit more. Now, of course, we have specialty inks too, like puff, glow in the dark, metallics, pearl prints, glitter. There's a ton of different specialty effects that you could use that are all screen printed, just like this one right here. That we have, the white is actually a puff white ink, so it has a little bit of dimension to it. Well, it's paired with just a regular yellow Goof Proof ink. So you could still do two colors, although puff is only in black and white, but Goof Proof could be coupled with this as a screen printed print method. So that's actually really, really nice and easy to be able to get some cool effects if you want to do that. But a lot of people just start looking at the entire selection and go, wow, that's a lot of transfers. But realistically, all you really need to know about is, and all you really need to focus on, unless you want to do one of those cool sparkly graphics or something with the glitter or pearl, or even glow in the dark. Glow in the dark, super fun. Do I have a glow one here? I do. So glow in the dark looks just like a regular white screen printed shirt. But if you turn the lights off, which I can't do because then it would just be real dark in here, but it actually glows in the dark. So that's what we're going to be printing during our Toast to Transfers event. So if you just want a sample of that, of course, a sample of any of these, you could just ask at any time, and we're more than happy to send it to you. No obligation, no cost to you. All you need to do is just have a free Transfer Express account. And so that's those specialty inks that we're going to talk about, or that's pretty much the end of me talking about specialty inks here. And we're going to focus on the primary ones just to keep it super simple. Now, I mean, what to use when is the second most asked question we get, aside from how much does it cost. But just because we have such a huge offering doesn't mean it has to be confusing. And that's what this webinar's here built to do. Hopefully, I'm already shedding some light on some stuff and you're learning something today. That's my goal. So like I mentioned, Goof Proof is the best seller for cotton and cotton poly blends. We're going to start talking more and more about what different fabric type, because it's going to play a large part in what transfer type you're going to choose. So polyester, cotton, the only thing I will caution against with 100% polyester is super heat sensitive. Now, Goof Proof could apply as low as 325 degrees, which is still above the scorchable range for some polyesters. It just seems like polyester is just getting cheaper and cheaper. And whereas a few years ago, you could print on a 100% polyester blank at 365 degrees and you would have no issue. Now you're getting into the 325, 300, sometimes even 290, 250s. You look at them wrong and they're scorching. You take them out in the sunlight and they're scorching. So it's just part of the specific garment that you have. My best suggestion when you're doing any transfer type, have the garment in hands and test just a little corner, like take the inside little hem on the shirt, put it on the heat press, hit it with whatever temperature you think that you're going to be printing at, and see if it scorches. Because if it scorches on the inside, at least you're not ruining the shirt and putting a press box on the shirt, but testing a little corner of the fabric at pressure of what you'll be printing at the temperature that you're going to be printing. And that's going to help you find out if it's going to scorch or not. A lot of people get a little worried with, say, like those 60-40 blends, especially on like polyester fleece hoodies, if you will. And you'll find darker colors might give you a little bit more trouble, but 365 is usually A-okay. Nothing to worry about with this Goof Proof. I do want to mention tri-blends as well, because if it does have a tiny little bit of a non-polyester or cotton fabric in there, Goof Proof is going to work a-okay. We have a great video on our YouTube channel, printing on tri-blends, and I've washed that shirt now, man, over the course of probably over a year now, and it still looks absolutely fantastic on that tri-blend shirt. So this is it. Let's see. Sherry says, I get confused knowing if I have a press box or a scorch mark. So press box will commonly happen a lot on heavily saturated cottons. And mostly it's just the moisture leaving the fabric, and you'll actually see that difference in it pretty drastically. And then it's like that panic moment, like, oh no, what am I doing? I know this is 100% cotton. 100% cotton is not going to scorch unless you're over 400 degrees, which your heat press should not be over 400 degrees unless something is wrong, like a thermometer control is wrong or something like that, which is a very rare occurrence, even for some of those lower end heat presses. Commonly, they will be much lower in temperature than what it's actually displaying instead of higher. However, you could tell based on just wait 5 or 10 minutes and see if it comes out, see if it lightens. Sometimes if you have the pressure really slammed down, you're actually going to mat the fibers, which will give it a slight different finish on cotton. But what you could do is spray it with some water or throw it in the washing machine real quick and see if it comes out, because a lot of times that will just completely disappear. Now, if you're printing on polyester or blends and you hit it, there's a press box and it's not going away, then you may be looking at scorching, which is then you could just reduce the temperature. Don't play with the pressure or anything to test, but just reduce the temperature and see if that effect is lessened. So one thing to keep out. I hope that helps you, Sherry. Carmen, normal temp for your heat press is going to vary based on which transfer type you're using. So just like we're talking different fabrics and how they're able to actually touch the heat and everything, and how they're able to handle the heat, that's going to vary. So if you're pressing Goof Proof, it's 365. If you're pressing Ultra Color Max, it's 290. Always defer to the instructions that are included with your transfers. Let me see if one's in here. Yep, sure. Right in the bag, you're going to get an instruction sheet that's going to ship with your transfers, and you're going to be able to see the time and temperature that you should set your press to. But that's part of choosing your transfer, which is why we're going to continue on. And this is why we were going to talk about Elastoprince. So when we're talking about heat sensitive, 100% polyester, Elastoprince is it is the counterpart to Goof Proof, but at a much lower application. It is the same plastisol ink on a different carrier with different adhesive powder. So it gives it much more stretch and reboundability for, say, jerseys. Like this one right here. This is a 2-color Elastoprint print, and a number on the back as well. So it is a durable adhesive that's going to sit on the garment at a low temperature application, not come off, and be able to be abused for on-field use. Field hockey or football, baseball, the commercial laundering when you're trying to get all the grass stains out of it. Elastoprince is a super durable athletic formula. So it is that different adhesive, which is going to let it apply at a much lower temperature, which is a huge benefit to using it, because that's when we're talking it's going to apply at 290 degrees now. So under that 300 mark is where most polyester is safe to heat print. Of course, if you're trying something for the first time, I always still recommend testing it. Test it, just make sure it gets the heat before you start ruining any garments, because I've ruined garments, and let me tell you, it's just not fun. It's money down the drain when you're doing a run and you're already operating on maybe a thin profit line, and when you start ruining a couple garments, you're like, man, that's my profit going down the drain. Of course, pricing is a whole bunch of different thing, and I always recommend cost times 2 on pricing models, which does cover those accidents that are unfortunately always going to happen, but we are going to do everything in our power to reduce that. So Goof Proof, Elastoprince for your spot colors, Goof Proof for most everything, Elastoprince for 100% polyester only. And we're going to talk about dye migration here in a little bit. Don't let me get ahead of myself. But I see you and I understand you. We do have solutions for that as well. So let's start talking about our full color transfers. Now, these are digitally printed, like I mentioned, with that new cutting edge technology. And we have quite a few different options here as well. So number one is Ultra Color Max, and that is our Dtf Transfer, the brand new technology. I know everybody's talking about direct to film these days, and this is what our direct to film transfer is going to look like. Photographs, anything like that. I've got some here. I'll pull them out when the slide comes, but photographs, any full color stuff, those gradients, anything like that, the price will not increase here with however many colors you're adding. with Goof Proof and Elastoprince, every color that you add to your design is going to knock you up into a little bit higher cost, because it is another screen that we have to ink up, register back on press, and actually pull a squeegee along those inks to make your transfers. Now with these, there's none of that. So it's all printed digitally, so you could get that photographic detail. Do you guys see that? Like, that is incredible, the level of detail that you're able to get with these transfers. Nice, bright, opaque whites. And these will print on cotton, polyester, and cotton poly. Now, Ultracolor Pro is our brand new hybrid transfer, which is a digitally printed with a screen printed, digitally printed graphic with a screen printed adhesive. So the same adhesives that we've been known for 30 years to be easy to apply and stick to your shirts through the 50+ wash dry cycles. So the industry standard for durability on fabrics. This one applies to cotton, polyester, and cotton poly blends, and is just a really, really cool product. Let's see, I think I have some here, but these are available by the sheet too. So just like our other sheet, these are slightly larger. They're 11.5 by 18-inch sheet instead of the 11.5 by 14. So more closer to the jumbo size on our screen printed transfers here. And as you can see, photorealistic detail, any colors, and it's the same price regardless of how many colors are in your design. So that's why if you're just doing, say, like a white one color, you're definitely going to want to go with Goof Proof and not pay for the full color capabilities here. When you hit that like 3-4 color mark, depending on your actual quantity of your order, that's when it becomes much more cost effective to switch over to the full color transfers. Now, when I talk about sheet sizing, Ultracolor Pro is only available on the sheet. Ultracolor Max is available by the image, any size, from 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch all the way up to 22 by 22 inches. So you could make these humongous gang sheets if you want. And this is just priced per square inch versus priced by the sheet. So if you need just a low quantity, man, these are cost effective and profit packed transfers for you to use versus, maybe, having to buy a 6 quantity. If you just need to print 4 shirts, you don't have to buy any extras. You could just order 4 and they're in there. Let's do that. Tim, what do white performance shirts scorch less than dark? Yes, I will say yes. In my history and all of the apparel printing that I've done, even to sublimation, you could hit those sublimation blanks that are white or very light colored in most cases. You could hit those with almost 400 degrees and they're not scorching. It seems to be the heavily dyed polyesters, and depending on the dyes that they are putting in there, I'm talking black, navy. Black is notorious. Sport Tech blacks, Nike black polos are incredibly heat sensitive. So the more dye that's really in the fabric, the more noticeable that scorch is going to be. So absolutely, Tim, I would say white performance shirts do scorch less. But let's see. Should we use digital transfers for logos with very fine detail if they're only one color? It depends. Small text, the minimums for small text on screen printed transfers, I'm trying to see if any of mine have an inside tag print. But you could get incredibly small detail. Now with screen printed inks, there's a little bit of a spread. So if you have like very, very fine text and you absolutely need it to be legible on a graphic or but all like the line weights and stuff are very, very similar between the transfer types. Ultracolor Max might have a slight edge on tiny text, but you're always running the risk when you're under 16 point anyway of that text not being legible on a shirt. So 16 and up, you're safe with either print method here when we're talking about screen printed or digital transfers. Now, of course, before I go off the screen, I do want to mention Ultracolor Stretch, and that's for spandex, lycra, and nylon. And whoever was in there asking about the dye sublimation, I just wanted to get in there. I want to say it was Anne, but I don't, I'm not exactly too sure. Yeah, it was Anne. Found Anne down in the chat asking about dye sublimation or the ink migration from the dyes of heavily dyed polyester shirts or sublimated apparel. And that is why Ultracolor Stretch also has a dye blocker. So for those very specialty applications, when you're printing on something that you're worried about dye migration, that's when you're going to want that blocker added to Ultracolor Stretch. Now, Ultracolor Stretch really does work well on 100% polyester and cotton too, but it is the added cost because of the specialty adhesive on it that is specifically designed to print on spandex, lycra, and nylon. So you get a little bit wider range of fabrics it's available to print on. But if you're just printing on cotton, you're definitely not going to want to order it. And cotton doesn't migrate at all. More of the heavily dyed polyesters. If you're very worried about your whites turning a little gray, say if you're printing on black, I haven't seen it with Ultracolor Max or Pro personally, but with Ultracolor Stretch, it has that carbon-based dye powder in the adhesive as well. So instead of the adhesive being like white color, it is black. It has the carbon in it that will block any dyes seeping from the shirt into your print, keeping all of your colors absolutely phenomenal. So that's why I wanted to mention that one here on this slide too. So full color transfers, like I talked about, Ultracolor Max, small quantities, 1 to 24 is really where the sweet spot is for the pricing. Now, it is priced per square inch, so it's just 6 cents a square inch, which is super simple pricing. But if you're just doing left chest, incredibly profitable because it is such a small print. If you're doing these larger full front prints, something like this is probably going to cost in the $6 to $7 range, depending on the specific sizing of what it is, which is still incredibly cheap. If you're saying, I just need one transfer, I need to make one shirt, and it only costs $6 for the transfer. If you went to a direct-to-garment shop or somebody doing sublimation, they're going to be like, yeah, that's $35, $40. So even still, this is an incredibly profitable tool for any apparel decorator, whether you're doing prototyping. Maybe you're making shirts for just some photo shoots or something, or you just have a super low quantity need. You don't have to spend out of the pocket. You could still charge your customers the going rate of $35 for one shirt, but you're only paying $6 plus the blank of the shirt. You're making well over cost times 2 profit with these Ultracolor Max transfers. And there is no investment into direct-to-film setups of your own. No printers, inks, no maintenance to manage, no color fidelity software and RIP software. No. Send us your file. We'll handle all that. And the next day, we're going to ship you out your own transfers. Just a super, super powerful tool here for apparel decorators. Kim, there is a $25 minimum on the Ultracolor Max. I don't want to spill the beans, but that might be changing here soon. But there is a $25 minimum, and that's just an order minimum. So that's you could fit anything in. Like you say, you just needed one. Just increase the sheet size up to, I think, the 22 by 22. So if you fill the full sheet, that's over the $25 minimum. So you could put in other logos that you're thinking about printing, and then charge your customer still $25 for, hey, no, it's going to be $25 for that print. Still charging $25. That's $10 less than, what else you're going to be printing, or the other competition. If you're going to Custom Ink or anywhere else online, it's going to be super expensive. So then in the rest of that space, you could put maybe other customers' logos. The one thing that I saw one of our customers do lately was they needed just a couple prints. So they made 2 on an Ultracolor Max sheet, but then all of their the landscaping companies around them, some of their old clients that they wanted to re-engage, they put their logos all over on the sheet to put on hats, to put on polos, to be a free gift, to go, hey, look at my capabilities of what I could do for you. You guys looking for new polos? I know it's been a couple years since you ordered them. Check this out. This is what I did for you guys. Feel free to keep that one. No, absolutely keep it. And then you want to know what? They're coming back for more business. I saw on one of our Facebook groups where a customer did that, or apparel decorator did that with Ultracolor Max, and within 1 week got $3,500 in sales just from those prototype samples. So when you say a $25 minimum, turn that into marketing potential for you and your business by filling the rest of the sheet with stuff that you could pitch to customers and make more money, sell more custom apparel. Really, really profitable and really possible for you to do. And it's accessible. And yeah, that entire sheet, if you're at like 20 inches by 20 inches or something, it's $25. That's it. How much could you fit on a 20-inch by 20-inch sheet? It's a lot. So always keep that in mind when you're doing that. And of course, it's always just per square inch here with Ultracolor Max. Now we're going to shift over to Pro, which is by the sheet. So you need the 11.5 by 18-inch sheet here. And this is for your larger runs of full color graphics. So how we said Max is for the lower, Ultracolor Pro is for a little bit higher quantity, the 24 and up. And just like I was talking about with the Goof Proof gang sheets or Elastoprince gang sheets, that you have to order it by the sheet, fill it up. Except this time, it doesn't all have to be the same ink. So you can put a ton of different customers' logos on it with a ton of different artwork, all right here. I noticed when I'm holding this up, there's the instruction sheet in here. But I'll pull this out. And then this is just one of the transfers that we cut off the gang sheet. So you could see, greetings from Florida, Daytona Beach, a beautiful photo in there, a whole bunch of different elements, and there's no banding or anything. All of these solid ink colors are solid, we print this at an incredibly high DPI so that everything looks, I mean, it looks better than a business card. You give us good 300 DPI files, you're going to get an absolutely fantastic result. Even if you don't, with UltraColor Pro, that's one of the big differences is design fees. With proofing for UltraColor Max, if you do have a low resolution file, we have artists to take care of it. It's just a $22 fee where all of those art fees are completely built in to these UltraColor Pro transfers, making them super, super profitable, even if you don't have the best art. Here's a Pro. So a Pro here, you can see, looks great, almost emulating a spot color design with no gradients or anything in here. But if this is going at a medium quantity, it's going to be much more cost effective, say 36 quantity if we're printing 4 different colors in this design, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the white. You're definitely going to want to be using a full color transfer for that. And let's see here. Here's the shirt that I was just holding up, the Greetings from Florida. So there you go. You could see printed on here looks absolutely fantastic. And that gives you a awesome result on cotton, polyester, and cotton poly blends. We've seen it work great on tri blends too. Now, of course, I want to talk about the Cad Prints too, because they soft opaque is great when you're trying to block dye or any dye migration. Every time I say dye, I just want to say sublimation. Whenever you want to stop dye migration, you could use the soft opaque. Cad Prints Express prints are absolutely phenomenal for those lower quantities of like really heat sensitive. It can apply as fast as 200 or as low as 250 degrees. And then the Cad Prints sub block, of course, for blocking out that dye migration. The soft opaque is great and completely opaque on everything. But if you really need to block that dye migration, then the sub block is going to be what you're going to be choosing. But like I mentioned, UltraColor Stretch also has the blocker option. So if you are printing on any sublimated apparel that needs that, or we could talk about that here in just a minute, but you could also cut your own vinyl too for printing on, or not printing. So like the Cad Prints are vinyl that is printed on and then cut custom for you, or the cut your own vinyl is just if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette or a Roland or any cutters at home. You of course could use vinyl for those the lower maybe 1-2 pieces, especially 1 or 2 colors only if you're doing that. And that's going to be the most cost-effective option. But I know a lot of people don't have cutters at home or want to learn cutting software. Don't worry, we will handle it all for you. And personally, I really love Goof Proof. It is my absolute favorite. Everybody else here in the office knows how much I absolutely love Goof Proof. So yeah, of course, Ultra Weed from Stahls. Premium Plus is a great option, and Gorilla Grip if you're going to be printing on stuff like nylon, those specialty applications. But primarily, I've been mostly focused here on just the transfers because I don't have a cutter at home, and I absolutely need the quick turn with the UltraColor Max and photographic stuff. Makes it so super easy. So there is a white outline on Cad Prints. That is an important mention. Kim, thank you for reminding me. There always has to be a common outline color, like you can see here on the Bradbury Bulldogs logo here, that everything actually has a white outline. Now, UltraColor Pro does have a thin, clear outline. I don't know if you could even see it here on this, because I can't even see it really holding it up. So you can't even see it, especially with the hot peel. If you've ever used UltraColor Soft, it was a little bit more noticeable, and you could press it again and then make the outline completely disappear. But with the hot peel application of UltraColor Pro, which is essentially the next evolution of UltraColor Soft, UltraColor Pro, it is pretty much never there. I've never had to press it twice to remove that clear outline. It looks absolutely fantastic. And it was originally designed as a single step application so that you don't notice that clear outline at all. UltraColor Max, absolutely no clear outline. All the adhesive is right behind the ink, and it has a white backing behind it too. If you notice this one, this one's in a lot of white. This one might be a better example. You see these different colors here. If I turn the transfer around, it's all white. So it's all backed behind a white. But this is UltraColor Max. UltraColor Max. Let's see. And we'll keep moving. So now, making your choice. There are 3 pretty big variables as to how you're going to decide which transfer type to use. So material, what is it going to be applied to? We already talked about the stuff, cotton, polyester blends, maybe tri blends. There's options for almost everything there. When we're talking on cotton, yeah, the Goof Proof works great. Yeah, the Ultra Color Max works great. Pro works great. 100% polyester. Goof Proof if it's not super, super heat sensitive. But of course, the 290 application of Ultra Color Max is great. The Ultra Color Pro applies at 290 on polyester as well. So you have those low application temperatures for when you're printing to that material. Of course, quantity plays a role into what you're going to do. Say if it's just a, you need 24 quantity of a one color print. That's when it's going to be more efficient and cost effective to go over to, let me actually hold up a one color print here, a Goof Proof screen printed transfer. Now, if you just needed one of these, you could either order Ultra Color Max with no minimum quantity and just a single color, which is fine. It's just price per square inch and no quantity breaks on it. So that's why I'm saying for higher quantities of one color, you're going to want to go over to this. If you have a cutter at home, of course, vinyl in that 1 to 2, 12 quantity range even, it might be more cost effective depending on how much time you have to weed the design too, because that's something you need to take into consideration when thinking of switching from vinyl to transfers is a lot of that weeding time. These come ready to apply. And Goof Proof applies in just 4 seconds. So it is a super quick application, a hot peel. There's no weeding involved. It just comes on the sheet. If you put multiple things on a sheet, you just have to cut it out. But it cuts, this carrier cuts like wrapping paper. So it's almost fun. And also, if you don't want to cut them out, we will cut them out for you. Just 10 cents per cut per order. So that's pretty easy. So definitely you want to switch there. And then we're talking about size. So how big your image is. Like I talked about with Ultra Color Max, that plays a role. Because if you have little small left chest designs, that is priced per square inch and could be, less than $1 per print. So it doesn't matter how many colors you have in your design. You're just going to need to price that out. Now, in EasyView Online Designer, you have that entire bottom bar to be able to put stuff in. You put your quantity in, it sees the number of colors in your design or the transfer type that you have selected, and it's going to quote that out for you, because you could always go back and double check different transfer types to see which one is going to be the most cost effective for you. And I'll say for most of the time, when you're doing single color prints, like this Stay Golden graphic, that it is going to be Goof Proof most of the time. Now, depending on size, it might go back to Ultra Color Max. So that's all here for you. Now, one really cool thing is this what to use when guide. Now, if you guys are here, screenshot this one right here. Melissa, loving the Goof Proof too. Goof Proof for life. I'm going to get a tattoo, right? Goof Proof for life. Yes. Melissa, you can see you've pressed tons of them. Absolutely love them. They look, feel, wash, and wear like a screen print. We've seen a lot of actual commercial screen printing shops move over to Goof Proof. Just because since the pandemic, it's been kind of hard to find skilled labor of people who know how to screen print. So that takes a lot of education to bring somebody up to learn how that entire process and get retail ready results. Over 10 years ago, I was doing it in my house, and it took me about 3 weeks to get a retail ready quality. I was always kind of shearing the ink a little too much, or not putting too much ink on, or pushing too hard on the squeegee, and ink was spreading out and not getting the crisp lines that I knew that I could achieve, or the emulsion wasn't cured all the way and started breaking down through a print run. There's a whole bunch of headaches that you have to hassle with actual screen printing when you could get the same result. Had I known that screen printed transfers existed back then, man, I would have spent all of the money I invested into screens and inks and emulsions and the press and the little registration things. I would have saved all that money and just bought a heat press. And then would have been able to, the first time that I pushed the heat press down, there's a retail ready result. That's it. That's it. So it's super, super easy to do. So this what to use when guide is brand new in this little chart. I'm hoping that Mike would be able to throw this into the chat. Yes, see, Mike's saying, can you put a link to this document of the what to use when? Absolutely. Mike's going to put it in there. I know Mike could find it. We're going to challenge him. He's going to find it and throw it right there into the chat section. But this is a great visual reference guide for you. I have a printed one right here of where you need to, where your base. It's a great starting point because, of course, when we start talking about different fabrics, this is pretty much just how many inks are in your design, the color quantity down the side, and then apparel quantity up top. So say you need to do 6 shirts in one color, CAD cut vinyl is probably going to be your best bet. And you can see for cotton, polyester, and tri-blends, Ultra Weed and Premium Plus is recommended. Might be a little small on your screen. But then when you get over to screen print and transfer, say it's a one color, you're doing 36 quantity, boom, right here, one color, 36 quantity is going to be screen printed. Now, if you're doing cotton polyester, cotton poly blends, it's Goof Proof or hot split. I would choose Goof Proof just because it's a little bit, if you don't fully trust your heat press, I would not trust hot split. You just need that super accurate high heat and high pressure. Hotronix machines, absolutely fantastic. And I have an autoclam just off the screen here. But any other brands, I wouldn't necessarily recommend using hot split. And with the new ink formula, Goof Proof and hot split are very, very close together. We have a great video. There's Mike right in the chat with the what to use when chart. But we have a really great video of the difference between hot split and Goof Proof. And in terms of hand feel, they are very, very similar. It's just that hot split is a little bit less opaque. So on a black shirt, the orange looked a little bit more brown than orange. That's really the only difference there. So that's why I always kind of defer to Goof Proof. It's just easy. It's not thick on a shirt, and it feels great. Okay, so we will move on, but make sure you guys screenshot this one, because then you can see how Ultracolor Max fills the low quantity. Pretty much anything under 12 quantity, regardless of colors in the design, is Ultracolor Max. Then Ultracolor Pro hits those high needs for the high color counts and high quantity, making it super cost effective when you hit those price breaks, because Ultracolor Max is locked into that 6 cents per square inch. So while it might be cost effective for small graphics, for big graphics, you're going to be much better off switching over to Ultracolor Pro here. Goof Proof for the win. Melissa, are we best friends? Did we just become best friends? I think so. So making your choice is here where I'm going to touch on some of these super specific specialty applications, let's say. So when we start talking about these, lycra, spandex, elastane, woven nylon, you're going to want to be using soft opaque or Ultracolor Stretch. Those are the two options that we've wash tested and guaranteed to be able to print on that. You may see some things going of people using Ultracolor Max on some weird stuff. The Dtf transfers, the 6 cents per square inch, they've been using those on spandex, and we've seen it on some weird neoprene foam hats that seem to be working well, but we haven't completed wash testing on that, so I can't tell you to go out and do it. Of course, you could always wash test them yourself, and for maybe specific uses where it's just 1 or 2 uses, and then maybe, but you should specifically stick to, if you're printing on that woven nylon, lycra, spandex, elastane, I think even modal, those weird, super stretchy synthetics fabrics, soft opaque, Ultracolor Stretch. If you are using soft opaque, it's best for a smaller order here. So it does come with that thin white outline that we were talking about, and that is actually on vinyl. So if you have like full bleed artwork, we can eliminate that, but there is an added design fee for us to go in and modify your artwork. Predominantly, it's always outlined in white. And if you think about like the example that we showed earlier, or this Clifton Football Club logo here, the white outline completely fits with the design and would have been there anyway. It just makes it a super affordable, low-cost option for those super low quantities for those specialty things. So like Ultracolor Stretch, the minimum quantity on Ultracolor Stretch is 6 full sheets. So you have to order that. With the soft opaque, there's just a $25 minimum. So you're able to get those super low quantities. Of course, Ultracolor Stretch does have the same kind of clear outline that Ultracolor Pro does, but that is barely visible. If you want to lay a cover sheet over top of it, it will come with a cover sheet in the order that you can just lay over top of it and hit it again, depending on the color of your fabric. It all really depends on the color of the fabric. And if you're printing on, say, spandex or lycra, those are like, it's such a tight knit weave on those that you can't even notice that anyway. So of course we would always love to send you samples if you need it. All right, Tina already printed the chart out. She's ready to go. Awesome. Yeah, this is something that we've kind of been working towards for a long time, to just make it super easy. That quick reference guide to be able to check and see what you're going to be printing on. So of course, Ultracolor Stretch with that blocker for that sublimated apparel that we talked about earlier. And the easiest way, if you are unsure of if the garment is sublimated or not, because with polyester, sometimes you have dyed polyester or sublimated polyester, check the inside of the shirt. Sublimated shirts are colored on one side, and then they still have white on the inside. Just like this example we have here for the soccer tee, you can see that the outside is this nice kind of almost tie-dye blue pattern, but the inside of the shirt is white. Telltale sign that the fabric is sublimated. Now, if you put any ink on that, as soon as it hits heat, or when it is laying around for a couple days, the inks will start to leach into your actual inks. So if you had white ink on this, it might start to look a little baby blue or a light blue as those inks seep in to the white ink and start to color it. So always want to make sure you're using the right product when you're printing on sublimated apparel. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes super heavily dyed polyesters will migrate, but I haven't seen that happen with any of our like full color transfers for the most part. I will say that I specifically have only really used like Sport Tech, Nike, Port Authority, Port and Company. Now, I'm sure there's some other brands that I'm not thinking of, but sometimes there's some weird brands, and depending on the dyes that they're dyeing with, it could color your print on there. So we want to avoid that. Now, of course, making your choice. If you don't have this chart, for easy reference, we have a simple transfer selector tool on our website. It is in the help section at transferexpress.com. You can always go up. Top right corner is the help center, and you'll find it in the transfer products section. And it's called, just right there, you'll see where it's circled under transfers. Choosing a transfer tool. So that is our transfer selector tool. It is just a simple questionnaire. It asks you, oh, how many colors are in your design? What quantity are you going to be printing? Do you need any special effects? Is it spot color or full color graph? It asks you all the questions through a nice little simple questionnaire, and it's going to land you on the best transfer choice for you. So that's really a really cool tool in there. Maybe Mike could grab the link specifically for the transfer selector tool too, and drop it in here so you guys could bookmark it, because it's a great tool to use, especially if you're sitting with a customer and they're throwing around all these crazy garments that you're like, I've never heard of that thing. Oh man, that has nylon in it. Oh no, that you could go in and run them through the transfer selector tool so that you could have those spot on questions, or just have this hidden under the desk and you're like, all right, cool. It is 36 quantity and 4+ colors, but it's going to be printing on nylon stretch, ultra color stretch. You have it all right here on this chart. So that's the same answers you're going to get. Now, when you're ordering an easy view, which is what's here on this slide, circled in green there is the actual fabric compatibility. So you have your design screen, and then your middle step is always the option step. So if you want to add any color changes or add order notes, shop for apparel, all of that is in there. Even the cut apart, when I was talking about cutting apart the transfers on your gang sheet, we could cut those apart. You just select that right there. But in there, it does ask you what fabric type you are printing on. Debbie, the chart is down a little bit in the chat if you want to scroll down through the chat, and I'm sure Mike would be able to throw that back into the chat here with that link as well. Look at that. He's already on it. Mike's on it today. Mike's always on it. But here you can see it circled. Choose the correct fabric of what you're going to be printing on, because this is the last step. Of course, we have our customer service staff. They can't catch anything. And if you don't, if you call in and go, oh man, I forgot to fill it out, I need it for polyester, they may be able to help you. But if you don't tell them what fabric you're printing on, we can't catch anything. So just like this one, if you say it's printing on 100% cotton, there's going to be a little green check mark and say you are good to go. It is 100% compatible on this fabric that you're printing on. Of course, here for this one, say if we were using Elastoprince, this is an Elastoprince transfer because we know we're printing on polyester, but it's sublimated. So we click sublimated, and right there you can see there's that little do not use that shows up. There is also a not recommended. So not recommended shows up orange where it's not recommended. There is a better transfer type that you could use, but it might be okay. With the do not use it. Go back and change the transfer type. In a lot of cases, EasyView Online Designer is actually going to tell you you should switch this. Oh, if it's sublimated, switch this over to Ultra Color Stretch No Blocker or with blocker, or switch this over to a CAD with sub block. So you're going to be able to choose the absolute right transfer for what you're doing. So, of course, when we talk about scorch prevention, and it's kind of been a topic that's come up and down the entire webinar here today as we talk about different fabric types, low temperature transfer. So if you're worried about scorching, don't have to do anything crazy. You don't need to use any pillows or cover sheets, because all those pillows affect the pressure, and you need a firm pressure for transfers, and it makes it too soft for a good proper adhesion. So the best part is to just use a mouse pad if you really need to raise the printing area. And any of those like the heat silicone cover sheets, they block up to 30 or 40 degrees of heat. That's why it's not scorching the apparel. But when you need specifically, say, 290 degrees, and you're putting that thick cover sheet over top of it, it's not getting 290 degrees now. It's getting 260, maybe even 250 degrees, and it is not going to apply to that shirt. It might apply, but then it's not going to wash properly. It's not applied how it was intended and how we've tested it and how we recommend to apply it. So no cover sheets unless the transfer type specifically says so. And any of the transfers here at Transfer Express, if they require a cover sheet for application, it's going to absolutely include one in the packaging. And just a paper cover sheet that will block no more than like 5 degrees of heat at the absolute worst. A lot of times the heat passes right through them and you're A-okay. They even stay a little warm from press to press, depending on how fast you're going. So low temperature transfers, Elastoprince, 290 degrees, and on 100% polyester, you could even go sometimes as low as 275 for the right application. Of course, Ultra Color Max also applies at 290 degrees. So polyesters, those synthetic blends, the tri-blends, works great for that. And then Ultra Color Pro. Ultra Color Pro is that 290 degree application, and that should be under that 300 range. It looks like Tim says, does anyone make mouse pads that are beveled so that box outlines don't show up? It is a great idea, and we've tried it, but sometimes when you're cutting it, it's not super straight. One thing that we've been kind of testing is actually changing the pressure. So if you're talking about like a regular Hoptronics press, and be on the lookout, we're going to have a chart coming soon. It's not done. We're still running all the numbers and double checking it and testing it to make sure that you guys are equipped with solutions that are going to work for your business. Is when you are reducing, say you're printing on a regular 16 by 20 platen. That mouse pad is only 8 inches by 8 inches, but you're putting all of that 90 PSI that's supposed to be spread out across the entire print area. Now you're focusing all that pressure down onto one area. And when you're doing that, that's actually increasing the pressure on that, which is why you're getting the edges of those mouse pads. So when you're changing the platen for a smaller size or putting a mouse pad in there, we're coming up with this awesome formula to be able to dial in the right pressure so you're not juicing way too much pressure on a smaller print area. So that's something to test out. Of course, a lot of it is by feel. If you don't have a press with a digital pressure readout like any of the Fusions or the Hoptronics AutoClam, but you could still kind of, you could do it by feel by backing it off a little bit so it's not as hard. A lot of times you're adjusting the pressure anyway when you're putting anything underneath it, and you do have to watch out for those lines because that's something, that added pressure is definitely something that could start to scorch your polyester shirts when, you know, when I'm at 290 degrees. I know it's not going to scorch at 290 degrees. Why is it scorching? It's because your pressure is super high. And so it's pushing way too much heat into that fabric and causing it to scorch up. So yes, Sherry, we're working on it. We want to be able to help you guys out. Oh man, Tim, that's a great idea. Pads for standing fatigue that kind of have that beveled edge. That's a great idea. And that's super soft when you're talking in terms of like a regular t-shirt area. So that's a great tip. We're going to have to try that. And it is firm enough. It has a little bit of give to it, similar to the rubber pads that are already on the lower platens. Damn, that's fantastic. Let's see here. We're going to move on and keep it rolling here. We're just at an hour here. So before we wrap this up, I do want to give you guys the opportunity to have your own real life what to use when guide. So as part of this webinar special for our marketing kit, which we call the T-shirt Business in a Box, any order that's purchased today with this webinar special, the $35, so $14 off, normally $49. So it's a great deal at full price. But here for these webinar specials, it is absolutely fantastic to pick up because we really don't mark anything down. And the only time that we really offer these specials is for sometimes here in the webinars or mostly at the trade shows. So if you're going to come to a trade show, this is the only time you could get this offer. But we're actually going to include a printed guide for this what to use when chart. And I say this is your own real life what to use when guide because it's going to include 20 plus full-size display transfers. So like real deal full-size gang sheets. If you're just getting started and trying to start your really kickstart your custom apparel business, this has the idea book in it. And the idea book is filled with artwork. So you don't have to be a designer. You don't have to subscribe to SVG catalogs. You don't have to sit there for hours and prototype and design stuff and proof it with your customer. I came into the printing industry from being a graphic designer, and I find myself jumping into EasyView Online Designer or the idea book and just browsing baseball designs instead of having to completely design something from scratch. grab one of those layouts, easily double click and customize stuff. And that is a great book to be able to pitch your customers. But EasyView, a completely different webinar that I think went like 2 hours long. So super, super in-depth. Of course, you can find all that content over on our YouTube channel. But aside from the 20 plus full-size display transfers, is you have the color selector swatch book. So you get to see actual, it takes 102 screen printing screens to make that book. It is real plastisol ink printed on fabric and all bound together, but you have all of our 70 plus standard ink colors that you could browse, and all of those effect inks that I talked about too. So the puff, the glow in the dark, the metallics, and the pearl prints, and the glitter, all of those, you have an actual real swatch, because the colors on screen don't always add up to the colors that you see printed on a real shirt. So here, you are able to actually see the colors, like say, like for this one, if this is actually one of the metallic golds. So you can see what the metallic gold looks like in that swatch and pitch it to your customer. And then even have these full-size display transfers, just like this one, the 2-color Goof Proof print. So a little blue, if you could see that, light blue and a white. So like all that stuff there, a lot of these display transfers are in this kit. So it's 20 plus. You get a t-shirt that you can start printing on right away. And then you could even see and feel and touch and apply all of these transfers yourself and have display samples, so that this is your traveling showroom. You could show your capabilities off. You could have your customer browse this book. There is a great pricing guide in there. So not only will we include the what to use when chart, but then the pricing guide, so that you could say, okay, well, I need 24, one color. It's going to be Goof Proof. Let me go see what a 24 quantity and 1 color Goof Proof is going to cost. And then you go to that pricing guide and just easily, it's just an awesome t-shirt business in a box for you to use. On top of it all, it actually includes a $10 off coupon. So realistically, for your next order. So it's an account credit that's automatically applied to your Transfer Express account. So on top of this $35, you're really getting this for $25 because you're getting that $10 off coupon immediately right back in your pocket. And when we talk about the marketing potential for you and your business, especially if you're just getting started, when you're going to pitch local schools, maybe you're going to a PTA meeting, you could bring all of these layouts, and that book is customized to you. So they don't know Transfer Express exists. Even though you just started your business last week, it looks like you have years and years of t-shirt printing capabilities, number one, and then also an entire catalog of artwork that is yours that you could say, yeah, I could customize this to you. Oh, you want to switch the bear out for an eagle? No problem. And then you go back to your computer in 2 seconds, you could whip that up in the EasyView Online Designer, making it super, super easy. So Mike, I think put a marketing kit special down there in the chat. If you could drop that one again and get that in there. Rachel asks, is there any information sent automatically when you register? Yes, you do get a welcome pack. Which includes kind of small transfers, and it doesn't include the plethora of transfers that the marketing kit does. I believe there's 4 or 5 transfers. You get the main ones. You get the Goof Proof and the Elastoprince and Ultra Color Max and Pro. So you do get those samples, but they're little like 4x4 transfers, and they do have Transfer Express logos on them. So they're great for your own reference if you want to have your own reference. But when you're pitching to customers, the samples here in the idea book are actually like, they're like this. So they're like actual real use just examples of stuff that you could say like, oh yeah, I did this for the Tigers in this elementary school across town. This is one of the designs that I did for them, and use it as a display sample to pitch other customers with. So it doesn't have any Transfer Express branding. It looks like you and your capabilities, they could feel it and get it all done. Rayshawn, if you're talking about the marketing kit, Mike put the marketing kit special link right there. You could click on that one for this very special price. Or if you just want samples, you could always request them for free. But again, they're just little tiny small samples, not the full-size display samples. And then we won't be able to separate it to throw you this what to use when chart. But hopefully you already downloaded it from the link in there. We're here to help you guys. Yeah, John, yeah, the marketing kit is actually, the idea book is personalized with your business name. So there's a little field for you to fill out what you want it to say. And there's no Transfer Express branding on it whatsoever. It is you and your business's capabilities. But that's just a service that we offer, I mean, for free. EasyView Online Designer is free, but the idea book customized to you gets you that in-person contact. We're all meeting with people. We're able to sit down and flip through the book together. You can even pull up EasyView Online Designer in a customer mode. So it completely hides all the pricing and the Transfer Express branding, because we want to empower you and your small business. Your business might be small, but man, is it going to be mighty. We want you to have success, and we want to set you up for all of that success. And this is just one way to do it. with this marketing kit. And we always like to reward you guys, and I like to throw little specials out for you. I always add these, or sometimes when they let me, I add these into the slides to be able to help you guys out because you're here. I know that you're interested in bettering yourself, bettering your business, and all of us here at Transfer Express are here to help you do that. And I mean, we hung out for an hour today, right? We hung out for an hour, and here's my thanks to you for hanging out and bettering your business, and my admiration for you guys going on a limb. Starting your own business or starting a side hustle takes risk. You're risking your time, your money, and we want to see you succeed. Not just, not just survive and do your things. You should thrive. Absolutely. I believe in you. The entire team here believes in you, and you guys are rocking it. We've heard so many great success stories over the past couple of years, especially through the pandemic and all the heartbreak that everybody was going through. You lose your job, and then you see people who are just like, you know what? I finally started to realize my dreams, and I started my own t-shirt business, and now I'm my own boss. I'm never going back to work for somebody else. And I've built this stable of clients over the past 2 years that's more money than I've made when I was working for somebody else. It's more fulfilling to me. I get to spend more time with my family or spend more time doing things that I love doing. Of course, set boundaries with your small business. Don't work yourself to the bone. If you're working, you quit your 9 to 5 to work 24/7, right? That's what some small business owners say. So make sure to take time for yourself too. That's always very, very important in here. Maylin, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for attending. Heather, yes, absolutely. It's awesome that you found us. 5 years, absolutely. I mean, it's great. It's great to see people just like you hanging out and trying to better themselves in their business, take it to the next level. And vinyl, I don't want to knock it at all. It's great for those low pieces. But when I see somebody who's like, yeah, I did 140 pieces of this like semi-intricate design, like how much time did that take? And when you talk about material cost of like, if you're printing a large graphic like this, you're fitting maybe two up, maybe solidly. If you have to weed it out on a yard or a foot of vinyl. Material costs, like if you were buying 60 of these, 70 of these, it's cheaper than, like this entire sheet is cheaper than the material cost of vinyl. No cutting, no weeding, no nothing involved. So when you're doing those larger quantities, absolutely makes sense. And then you get it, people are like, is this screen printed? And you're like, yeah, it is screen printed. But of course, if you are not sure of what transfer type you need to use, give us a call. We are here. Customer service is available 8 to 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. That's 1-800-622-2280. Of course, we're always available. info@transferexpress.com, even over third shift. I think sometimes they are in there answering emails. And of course, our live chat is available when our customer service is here as well. We actually just introduced a great iteration of Rosie on our site. And Rosie is our little persona that we like to interact with people as. Long story, but Rosie has always been around here at Transfer Express for the past 30 years. Spurs from the Jetsons, if you catch my drift, if you're as old as I am. But there is a automated chat that you could chat into and ask questions 24/7. That's always learning to be able to help you out better. And she'll even answer some questions about what to use when too. So if it's 4 o'clock in the middle of the night and you're in a cold sweat, what transfer do I use? Hopefully you're never in that position. But if you are, Rosie's there for you on the website. Of course, social media, we have our Easy Prints Decorators group. So if you're an active customer of Transfer Express, you could join that group. There's like 10 posts a day. People are talking, sharing ideas about where they're finding apparel or what transfer types to use, right? And now after this webinar, you're like, you know what? I'm a pro. You're going to use Goof Proof because Goof Proof is the answer for 99% of the problems. Melissa, where are you at? I want to see you in that chat. So, of course, you could always direct message us through TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, wherever you're on social media. Just make sure you follow us. And so we can see that in our inbox so we don't miss it. We try to catch everything we do. And I know that I've been answering Facebook messages at midnight some days. It's if we're available, we absolutely want to make ourselves available to help you guys out. Because, I mean, granted, if you're messaging us at, say you're running a side hustle and that's the time that you have to work, and you're never able to actually contact customer service, we want to be able to support you too. We understand not everybody's schedule looks the same, and we're trying to be as available as we can, especially in those pinch moments when you pull the heat press down and you get that press mark on cotton. You're like, oh no, is this what's supposed to happen? And you're sending pictures, and that's why we love social media and direct messages, because you could send pictures and videos of you actually applying. It helps us troubleshoot in almost real time. And so that's really, really great and able to do there. Sharon, Stalls account and Transfer Express account, unfortunately, are different. So if you do have a Stalls account and you go over to Transfer Express. You just have to create a new account. Unfortunately, we can't get the systems to talk together. And it's something that I promise you we're working towards. We have the entire IT department working on it. Here in the marketing department, we're working on it too. And we're trying to figure out a way to integrate it and just make everything easier for you. So trust me, we're working on it. It's not there yet. You do have to create a separate account. And I apologize for that for now. That's me, 5 to 9 hustle. Yes, see? And so sometimes you're not available when we are. We want to be available to help you guys out with the automated chat, a little rosy face at the bottom of transferexpress.com that you could click on. Of course, we have YouTube. If you have any problems, you can run into the YouTube. And we have tons of content, application tips, even small business marketing tips. We just released a video today talking about direct-to-film, because we've heard a lot of people, I mean, we've been printing direct-to-film here for over a year, and there's some challenges. We ran into some hurdles trying to give you guys the best product, and we don't want others to fall into that same trap. I mean, I don't want to say same trap, but fall into those same pain points. I was at Atlantic City at the Impression Show this year, and we had a whole bunch, maybe 140 apparel decorators in a room, and asked, how many of you guys bought a direct-to-garment printer when they came out? Half the room raises their hand, right? Then Josh asked, how many of you paid off your direct-to-garment printer? And one person kept their hand up. Out of the half of the people in that room, nobody ever actually saw any profit from investing in that machine. It was an expensive paperweight in their shop. And we don't want that to happen to you. I don't want to try to sell you any machines that are going to be sitting there and you're going to have to feed ink and super maintain them. No. I don't want to encourage you to spend a whole bunch of time learning how to screen print. I did it and I enjoyed it, but I was chasing that result for weeks and weeks and weeks. And if I knew I could have done it with screen printed transfers and get the same result, man, that'd have been fantastic. I wasn't curing them properly too. So they looked great. And I was like, these are sweet. Have people run them through the washer a couple times and they start washing off like, oh no, I didn't cure the inks fully when I was screen printing them. No. And with this, it's one press, 4 seconds with a Goof Proof, 4 to 6 seconds. And it's on that shirt. You're not getting it off. Even if you try, can't get it off. I've tried. But I want to thank you guys so much for attending here today. We're going to wrap up any extra questions here. Yeah, I want to wrap up any questions here for you guys before I jump off here. I can't stay all day, unfortunately, but I do want to be able to help you. So any kind of questions here at the end, as I'm just talking about how to email us, info@transferexpress.com. Of course, call us. The blog is a great resource. And a lot of times when you type in those super weird queries at 4 o'clock in the morning into Google, we have a blog post for that. We've been actually really good just putting those resources there for you to be able to find them when you need them. Of course, if you want to stay up to date on all the art that we're adding to EasyView every week, or certain topics that we're talking about, marketing tips for your business, maybe setting up an Etsy store, we have all that content on the blog, and we still put that there for you guys. So if people are like, well, who writes a blog anymore? We do, because we want to be able to help you out when you guys need it. Same with the YouTube. We have tons of videos on our YouTube where a lot of these webinar replays go. Of course, they're always on transferexpress.com too, transferexpress.com/webinars. You could go there. You can visit our website, transferexpress.com. Of course, you already know. You can visit us at those trade shows that I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar here, but we are coming up to the tail end of trade show season. But of course, next year, starting in January, it all kicks back up again, and we're going to resume that tour. So really, yeah, lately, the next few places that we're going to be down in the Carolinas, Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, and of course, Fort Worth down in Texas, where we're going to see Kathy, right? We're going to see Kathy. Rebecca, does anybody know if the expos are coming back? Expos as in like expositions, like the Impressions Expo and Graphics Pro Expo? Yes, they are back, and they have been rolling. We are going to be down in Charlotte next week for the Graphics Pro Expo in Charlotte. That's a 2-day event. Everything Embroidery Market, which is a little bit smaller and a little bit more focused on embroidery or maybe crafts. We will be there the following week. So I think that's the 23rd, 24th. You can always check transferexpress.com down and click on events. And we have our virtual events listed and our in-person events as well. So, of course, you could always watch us on YouTube. I do a lot of the YouTube content, and I'm the one to answer those YouTube chats. So if you're ever watching a YouTube video and like, hey, man, I think it's actually this, or I have a question about this, or how would you suggest that I could, better SEO optimize my Etsy store? No question's too big or too small, but I'm the one typically to answer those questions too. So I'm here to help you guys out. I want your businesses to succeed. I want you to thrive. I want you to have fun doing your side hustle like Chris. or anything else like that. We want to be here to help you out. Kathy, yes. Come to the eastern states, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine. We are looking at a few of those, and I think Graphics Pro is actually thrown around an idea of doing a show back up there. The closest I think we got up there this year was Meadowlands, just outside of New York City in New Jersey. And then we did Atlantic City as well with the Impressions Expo in Atlantic City, New Jersey. But not too much up there in the Massachusetts area. I would love to get up to New England. I'd love to get up there for a show. I know there's tons of apparel decorators up there. Connecticut, Maine, Delaware, Massachusetts. Salt and Pine is an absolutely awesome screen print shop out of Maine. Mandy there is just absolutely fantastic. So I'd love to get up there and talk to some people as well, and talk to you guys as well. Let's see. Okay, yeah, absolutely happy to help. But I'm going to sign off here. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll be live with Toast to Transfers in 2 weeks from today. That's September 22nd. And we're going to have fun. If you haven't picked up a kit already for the Toast to Transfers, they're selling out. So make sure you get over to the website and grab one of those Toast to Transfers kits. You're going to see it right on the main header. As soon as you log on to transferexpress.com, it looks all spooky. You can see the designs that we're doing. We even have a little video of how we designed them in EasyView. And that's like a nice little 10-minute EasyView masterclass to show you how to add layouts, customize clip art, maybe even make some outlines or change your ink colors, stuff like that. And you'll see that fabric compatibility that we talked about earlier today. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm so happy to be able to help you. And until next time, happy pressing.